everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to another episode of Be Limitless. Today, we're going to talk to a company that sells products in the area of core hygiene and care. I see their business as being more than that. I see their business as being that of being social change makers, influencing minds, educating, addressing, and sometimes challenging social inhibitions and taboos. At some level and to some, this may seem less comfortable, but let me assure you, for the user, it's highly liberating and empowering. Before I invite Saakshi Verma Menon, Marketing Director of Kimberly-Clark, to talk to us, a little background about the company. Kimberly-Clark is present in 175 countries with a turnover of approximately 20 billion US dollars. Their brands hold the number 1 or number 2 position in more than 80 countries. John Kimberley and Charles Clark began this company in 1872, almost 150 years ago, based out of Wisconsin in the US, and have been innovating in the area of paper and its use ever since. They say that 25% of the world's population uses at least one of their products every day. I have great pleasure in inviting Saakshi to the program today. She will be talking to us about the digital-first transformation and being limitless journey that Kimberly-Clark has embarked on. Welcome, Saakshi.
Thanks, Sangeeta. It's a pleasure to talk to you always.
Thank you. So, before we start, I wanted to quickly mention, you've had an amazing journey so far, right? You've experienced brick and mortar. You've even done a tech platform, Uber. You set up modern trade. You handled several brands for Colgate and for Coke, if I remember correctly. And what would be very interesting for us today is to know, how do you see Kimberly-Clark's transformation journey as being different?
So yeah, Sangeeta, I started my career about 18, 19 years ago in the good old CPG world. So I started with Colgate-Palmolive, spent 10 years with Colgate across different stints in sales, custom marketing, consumer marketing, moved on to Coca-Cola, where I did stints in brand marketing, consumer excellence, and then moved on to tech. And really, that's a different world altogether. And I moved
Right.
on to, so really left the CPG world and moved on to what seemed like a really, really fast-paced world of consumer tech. And then I moved over to Uber, which is really a different world of consumer tech and exceptionally fast-paced, digital-first. So it was a completely new experience for me. And then moved on to, did a short stint with a startup, and post which Casey happened. And when I was evaluating opportunities, Sangeeta, before Kimberly-Clark, I think I was at the point where I wanted everything good that the CPG world has, right, which is global brands, established processes, great culture. And I also wanted the thrill of working for a fast-paced, digital-first entrepreneurial setup. And well, magically and luckily for me, Kimberly-Clark seems to have is currently the space where we are really a large American MNC with the heart of a startup. And so it really feels like the best of both worlds. And I can tell you it's a fabulous place to work.
Right. No, that's wonderful. So I spent a little bit of time on how this transformation journey is different from what you saw in the other companies. And I think I'll just prompt you on a couple of things. You said we are embracing change upfront. We are ready for the pain. And I found that very interesting. So do you want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think most importantly, we acknowledge that, the world is changing, the consumer is changing, and we need to change along with the consumer. And I think once you recognize that, you stop being defensive about everything that you're doing, and you start embracing change. And change is not easy. Like I spoke to you earlier, change comes with some degree of pain, some degree of ambiguity. And I think we're ready for it, and we like it. We embrace it, and that's what I think gives all of us the thrill that we're actually shaping the way this organization is going to be. So everything in terms of resources, people, structure, processes are all geared towards enabling change. I mean, we actually really encourage our teams and our employees to take risks. I mean, you must try something that's not been done before. And what's the worst? You'll fail, and that's okay. With every failure, we learn, and I think that's the spirit and the culture that we're bringing about in the organization.
Right. And just to add to that, you mentioned that it's very important that the frontliners embrace change, and they are closest to the market and the consumer. And it's very important to be inclusive of their ideas in this process of change, which is something different, which Kimberly-Clark seems to, have organized themselves to do. And I was recently exposed to the idea that, if in the boardroom you don't have those frontliners, you're not going to go very far. So
anyway. I fully agree with you. And I think for us, we have I think the way that we're organized, we have the benefits of all the learning, the experience from other countries, from our regional and global teams. But a lot of the autonomy and decision making rests with the countries. That basically enables us to actually take the decisions that we think are right to enable change. So I think it's a great mix, to be honest, where we do have the benefits of global and regional alignments, strong centralized processes, but there is a lot of autonomy that we have at the at the country levels, because fundamentally, if you want to be limitless and make change, the ones closest to making that change are best enabled and equipped to make it. So yeah, I think we've found a good mix that works for us both ways.
Right. Now let's move to talking about the business. And I remember your opening remark was that, we are shaping categories, and that's how we're being limitless. So there are 3 categories that we're going to talk to today. And would you like to just talk about the potential and the products?
Yeah. So let's start with baby care. And we're a country where 25 million babies are born every year. And, around 15 million of those do not even enter into the category. So they do not even buy a diaper for their kids. And even within the 10 million who do, the usage is largely restricted to special occasions, when you're going out of home, there's a festival. So it's infrequent. So on an average, diapering households in India use 4 diapers a week, which is much lower than, let's say, countries like China, which would be 16. So there is a lot of potential for us to build and grow the category in the country, and that I think is very exciting for us as an opportunity.
Yeah, that's baby care. And if we were to briefly mention the other 2, the whole state of feminine care, menstrual hygiene, I mean, it's bound in years of silence around a very normal biological occurrence, right? And remember, we talked about adult care, and where you said that it's really been a challenge in that category. And it's so sad, people are living longer, and without adult care, society almost writes you off if you are not completely mobile. So so let's talk. I think we'll pick up baby care first and talk a little bit more about that, your products. And then we'll move to the other 2 categories. Yeah. Okay, great. So would you like to talk more detail about baby care, the products?
Yeah. So
the size of the market, perhaps.
Yeah. So if you look at baby care, right, like I told you, there is fundamentally the frequency of consumption on baby care in India is very low. And we are, we are a challenger brand in the country, and that is an exciting opportunity that makes us be more limitless, Sangeeta, as I would say, because we want to, we believe that as a challenger brand, we can challenge a lot more. We can break category stereotypes. We can innovate based on what the consumer is looking for. And I think that's, we're doing a lot of things in that space, and I'll talk you through some of those. Let's go back to the Indian consumer, right? Fundamentally, Social conditioning prevents mothers from putting their babies in diapers, right? I know all of us, and you and I were chatting about this, right? The big project of a mom is to actually make sure that the child is okay. There are nappies which are being, washed and dried, and that's conditioning. And it takes a lot for, cultures and social cultures to change. And we've seen the adoption of the category grow in the last couple of, couple of years. And the intent for us is to continue working closely with our consumers to develop products and categories basis what they need. So I'll give you a recent example. We were talking to a lot of moms, and one of the things that we heard them express to us was they wanted a diaper which was organic. So they wanted to make sure that they were giving the best for their child, and they wanted an organic diaper. And that led to the innovation process at Kimberly-Clark in India to actually develop Huggies Nature Care. And we've seen that product being received well by consumers. And fundamentally, that's because it's tapping into a consumer insight today, where moms want more and moms want better for their kids. Let me give another example, right? You'll be actually surprised to know that a lot of the category in diapers rests even with the smaller packs. So you have, we actually offer the diapers in singles, there are 2s, there are 5s, and there are large packs. So fundamentally, accessibility, affordability of the category has improved. And I believe that's going to really help increase adoption for the category in the coming years.
That's amazing. And that reminds me of that chick shampoo example, which is a very old example from the 80s, where, even a rural person who couldn't afford shampoo bottles bought that ₹1 sachet to just go to the movie on a Sunday, wash their hair. And I guess that ₹1 pack, the one single diaper is a ₹5 pack or something, or a ₹10 pack, right? ₹10 pack.
And I think, when you look
that should help.
Yeah, and in fact, just yesterday and day before, I was with some consumers in Bombay, and it's so heartening to believe that there's these young moms who actually were like, I can now take my child out. I can actually sleep through the night because I have adopted the category. So I think fundamentally care is at the core of everything we're doing, and I think we're able to care for babies, able to care for moms by just making some of these products which are good for the babies and good for moms and just good for motherhood as well.
Absolutely. And would you like to mention that this is an innovation for India?
Yeah. So Nature Care, for example, is a product that was made in India. So, our product development teams at Kimberly-Clark report into marketing. So they're very consumer-centric at the heart of everything they do. So it makes us very proud that we can actually create products which are meant for the Indian consumer right here in India.
Right, because we used to living off an imported regime, especially in the adult care market, right? So that's amazing. Anything else on baby care? Would you like to mention some of your products which are available internationally and in India?
Yeah, so we have our brand that we sell in India is called Huggies. We have Wonder Pants, we have Nature Care. We also have a product which is called Premium Soft. And fundamentally, what we're trying to do is make different products available for different consumer needs and use cases. So keep watching out for some exciting stuff that's going to come out soon.
Wonderful. So with that, let's move to the next care category, which is feminine care.
Yeah. So, on feminine care, the most, we have the total menstruating women in India is about 336 million. And the penetration of the category is not very high. It's at about 38%. And Sangeeta, as a woman growing up in India, you would have realized that periods, unfortunately, hold women back. We know that, a huge number of women actually drop out of school. Girls drop out of school because of lack of, they're just embarrassed. There's a social taboo around the periods. So this is a category that I'm extremely passionate about because I feel that our products actually make a life-changing difference to women and enable women to actually go out there and pursue their dreams and just not let the period hold them back. And unfortunately, even today, you know, menstruation is a taboo subject. And you know, some of our efforts in the category are also around, you know, just removing the stigma associated with it. And you know, I have 2 young boys, and you know, it's my older one is 10, and he knows everything about menstruation, and I believe that he needs to, and he needs to, because he should be able to respect you know, his friends when they go through the process. And that, but unfortunately, we don't see that happening in, you know, at scale. So as a brand, we take our role very seriously. And you know, some of the things that we want to do in this category are actually going to be around changing the paradigm around periods, what people think about them, so that it's okay for a woman to have her period and still move on in life and still do what she wants to do with. It's not held you back, it's not held me back, and it should not hold any woman back in the country. So our brand is Kotex, and I think the most interesting part about Kotex as a brand, and if you follow it globally, is that it actually encourages women to be to follow their dreams and just be themselves. And I think you know, globally, we actually have a tagline that says, "Period or not, she can," because it's true. Every woman can, and we don't want the period to hold a woman back. So yeah, so on Kotex, we are actually, I'm excited to tell you, and you're the first person who's going to know this, that we are launching a new campaign for our overnight panties as we speak. And it is as a product, and I don't say this because I'm the marketing director of Kimberly-Clark. As a product, it is life-changing. It truly changes the way a woman can be during her periods, and I am a personal advocate of the product. And we're launching a new campaign, which is called "I Own the Night, I Am the Change," because what we want to do is we want to attempt to break the old cycle of stigmas around night that girls face even today. And our campaign attempts to free the girl of today of nighttime anxiety, nighttime discomfort, and just empower her to be the change that she wants to see in the world. So I'm personally very excited about it, because it touches an area that I am personally very passionate about, which is women being able to do what they believe in. So yeah.
That's great. And which segments of the market do you see growing in the feminine care market?
Yeah, so the feminine care market actually in India is not as evolved as it is, you know, globally. So to give you context, globally we have, you know, we have sanitary napkins, we have overnight panties, we have reusables, we have liners, we have tampons. And currently in India, we have a presence only in overnight panties. And we will keep assessing the market as we go along and bring some of these really revolutionary products, to be honest, which exist in our global portfolio to India, because I think the Indian consumer will soon be ready for it.
Right. So I was just reading, Saakshi, and apparently, obviously, it's a big change from when you guys started in India. So you launched Kotex in 1996, and I was reading how this was meant to go up against the 2 large competitors who literally owned the market at that time. And it didn't do so well because it had some initial, I think, tech problems the product had. And then I was reading that you actually changed the whole thing, and you went with wider napkins with wings, and you know, that was really the first time for those products in the Indian market, and that's how you broke into the market. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think, you know, in the same spirit, I think we, like I said, right, when you're a challenger brand, you do a lot of these things, right? You want to break into a market where there are 2 large established players. And even for us, our you know, entry or re-entry into overnight panties is in the same spirit, where you know, we're the product we're launching now, we know works really well. We've got an insight that we believe resonates with the consumer of today,
with the modern young.
Yeah, and believe you me, the modern young girl doesn't think of periods like how you and I did, and it's actually been very, very humbling to talk to young girls as we co-created our Kotex overnight panties campaign, because you realize that they actually want to make change. They want to be different. And, you know, one of the things they actually told us was, I feel like when we do menstrual health education, it should be for both girls and boys too. why are girls taken aside and given the education, whereas it is something which boys and girls should equally do. So yeah, co-creating this brand with the girls of today has been very exciting, and it makes me believe that the future of this country is in really good hands because these girls truly want to make change.
I'd like you to talk to us about the product development area. It's for a product company. It's not usual to have development reporting into the marketing director. So please talk to us about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think it's something that Kimberly-Clark, I think, has managed over the years beautifully. Because for us, the product development process starts with the consumer. That's the first thing, right? On top of that, we overlay all our technology, all the things we know about how to make the diaper a best diaper in the world. But it starts with the consumer, and it starts with the consumer need. So the product development teams, and the engineering folks who actually develop the product report into me. And well, they start their product development process by meeting consumers, doing consumer work, figuring out what works, what do they want. And then they go back and actually build it into a product development brief. So I think it helps a lot because nothing is lost in translation. It's not like the brand manager wants a product. It's because the consumer needs it. And I think there is a lot more acceptance. It also enables us to probe better with consumers on technologies that we may have, to figure out what's the best way for us to bring them to life that would help the consumers the best.
Right.
So you're right, it's unique. I love it because it enables us to work seamlessly as one team.
Right. Wonderful to know that, and completely consumer-centric development. So you have to have successful products.
Yeah, totally.
You have no other option.
Correct.
Let's now talk about what I found very interesting was the way you mentioned the strategy and the transformation of the company. You said we are a company strategy based on digital and not the other way around. And I think that's a very important takeaway for me. So would you like to talk to that?
Yeah, I think for us, and this is not just the marketing team, for us as an organization, right? We believe that digital is the way for all of us to
be.
Start.
It's the way to be.
It's the way to be. And so whether you're in, the legal function or the finance function, it's equally important for you to be digitally literate. So that we're all able to collectively take the best decisions for the consumer. And like I mean, this right. is, the consumers obviously changed in the way that they consume content, the way that they shop, the way that they are researching, the way that they're making product decisions, the way that they're giving you feedback, the way that they're talking right. about you. Everything's moved on to a different world. And therefore, we have actually embraced on a change process where the entire organization is embracing digital collectively. So we've broken the silos of functions. All of us are understanding how this ecosystem is changing and evolving and how we go along. Within the marketing group, of course, as part of the marketing team, it is the way to be, right? And that's another thing that is actually that I think is different for us and where we're more limitless. I think we experiment a lot on digital. Okay. And we actually feel, and we're doing that not because it's the fashionable thing to do. We're doing that because that's how the consumer is. And I feel we built our first party data from own platforms. We work closely with Google and Facebook to cohort our consumers. I mean, gone are the days when there was one TVC and you could air it across 1 year on every channel in the country. So we work very closely with our channel partners. We work closely with Google and Facebook to actually cohort our messaging to the relevant consumers. We look at, we identify a set of audiences depending upon what works for us. We're able to, look at data across affinities, people who are in market. And I think we've come a long way in the way that we communicate with our consumers. So fundamentally, I think we're now at a stage where we believe that personalizing communication at scale is the way to be. And I think we're embracing that change as well.
Right. And I found it very interesting. You mentioned that it's highly nuanced and that you could have hundreds or even thousands of cohorts of consumers. Because I remember asking you, can you describe some of the cohorts? And you said there aren't 4 or 5.
Yeah.
There are many hundreds of them.
Correct. And,
So,
and a lot of this is, so, today you have the, and I look back, and Sangeeta, especially for you, right? I mean, when you were running successful brands, I can only imagine how, it would have been a dream to be like, I can talk to Sangeeta differently versus Saakshi, because Sangeeta and Saakshi have different motivations, right? And, digital has enabled all of that. And we have a lot of tools that we work with, which allow us to cohort our consumers. So yeah, you're right. If you ask me how many cohorts do you have, I have no clue, because it keeps changing. We learn. There's the joy of digital is that every day we're A/B testing different things. But fundamentally, what we're able to do is, just personalize our message at scale. And we work with, Google, we work with Facebook, we work with our digital agencies to do that. For example, we just concluded a video campaign with YouTube, where we actually served personalized video ads using their director mixed product to, target multiple cohorts. And that even allows you to, serve the ad in the same language as the content that the consumer is consuming. So fundamentally, that's the level of personalization that we're able to do. And and like I say, that's as being a challenger brand, all of this is great fun, because you're trying to do things differently from the way that it's been done in the past.
Yeah. So in conclusion, basically, it makes the whole process more scientific, the whole process more sharply targeted, right, to your consumer.
Yeah.
And that obviously would give you better results. So anything you want to tell us on, the results? I mean, how do you see the output of this?
So, you're right. I think it allows us to be sharper. It allows us to be more specific. I also think it allows us to make choices. So you're able to make choices on what consumer do you want to target where. It allows us to actually build consumer life cycles and just approach the consumer journey very, very differently. And like anyone embracing this would tell you, it is way more, efficient. And it also is, way more effective than, just mass advertising.
Sure. Would you like to spend quickly a few minutes on some quite stand-apart communication for your brands? And I just want to point out 2 of them. One is that Sahi Wali feeling, which is, I think, comes out of a very nice insight that you have. And of course, the overnight panties.
Yeah, okay, I'll start with Huggies and Sahi Wali feeling. So moms in India, and we did a very interesting study with consumers across the region. So moms in India are among the most stressed out in the region.
That was a discovery for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice, because it's just like, I look back, everyone's willing to give you advice. There is the mom, there's the mom-in-law, there's the sister, there's the sister-in-law, there's the neighbor, there are friends, there are people you don't even know. There are aunts. No, there are people you don't even know. There are people who are just who you meet in the market and believe that they should give you some advice on how you should be a good mom. So there is just an overload of advice, inputs, and there's also this social conditioning of to a woman that she must be the best mom ever. And there are different ways of being a good mom, but I think a lot of when you speak to a lot of young moms, they actually believe like, okay, now I need to give up everything in my life to be a good mom, right? And that's a lot of pressure that they face. And I think it's very interesting to actually talk to moms to realize that it's a very challenging process. It's a very challenging time for a mom. And more often than not, the mom's doing this alone. Unfortunately, even today, the primary caregiver for a baby in India is the mom. And so she's been thrown into this new journey by herself, with the world giving her inputs on what to do. So, the campaign we kicked off a couple of months ago, which is Sahi Wali feeling, fundamentally encourages the mom to believe her own instinct, because she knows what's best for her child. And fundamentally, there is a lot of, when we spoke to moms, there's a lot of disconnect where they feel with what they think they want to do and what the world thinks they should do. And our campaign really looks to give the power back to the mom to say, you know what is best for your child, so believe in yourself. And for us, I think this has been it's been very interesting, because moms actually feel that I do know what's best. I just wish I was allowed to do it. So I think this campaign has actually done well for us the last couple of months, where we actually see consumers buying into the philosophy that the mom's feeling is actually the best feeling for the child.
And I remember we also talked about how there's so much information out there, so when my daughter, when she was going through this phase of her life, she had an app which told her every day things about the baby. And I think you mentioned that there is that effort at Kimberly-Clark also, to educate them, to give them access to a lot of other information.
Yeah, you're right. And, I share that emotion with your daughter as well, because I remember I knew every week what was happening, even during my pregnancy, what was happening, what was not, how was the baby developing. And I just think a lot of information is available, and the mom of today seeks that information. She wants to know. She's also, I think, a lot more involved in the process. So she wants to know more. So yeah, we do have, we have something called the Huggies Club, where these are moms who we've reached out to, who've come onto our website, and we talk to them through this journey. We give them interesting inputs on, what they should be feeling, what are the areas that they, and we've kind of built a full journey, a CRM journey across. So we're able to engage with the mom through this journey.
Right. Wonderful. And in the same context of empowering women, you mentioned a very interesting HR initiative that you're personally responsible for, apparently. Do you want to quickly mention that, and then we'll talk to one other subject and then bring it to close?
Okay. Yes. So, at Kimberly-Clark, we truly believe in diversity. Again, not because it's the right thing to do, not because it's the buzzword around, but because we truly believe that our workplace must reflect our consumer base. And fundamentally, it's not just about hiring women, but it is about hiring, retaining, and just enabling them to grow. And, and Sangeeta, you've been in the corporate world, and at probably a time when there were even much lesser women
there weren't any.
Correct, right? And therefore, you would understand the challenges for women to grow in the corporate world. And one of the I feel very lucky that I've had mentors through my working career who I could reach out to without being judged about how stupid my question is. And when we talk to a lot of women, you realize that they're just a bit shy to reach out and seek mentoring, but they'd love it. And we actually did a very interesting survey as well, and we realized that people who actually have mentors are more content and happy with the work that they do. So one of the key initiatives for us as part of the Women Inclusion Chapter of India, which I lead, is for us to kick off a mentoring program for women. So that's something that we're kicking off as we speak, where we're doing two things. We're actually training about 15 to 20 people in the company to be trained
mentors.
Okay. Yeah, because it's very different to be a mentor versus a manager versus a coach versus a guide. So we're doing that process. We're lucky. Our CEO Menak is, does a lot of work in mentoring. So he's helping shape what these mentors should do. And we've opened this up to women, and the response has been very exciting, where women actually want this. So I'm personally very looking forward to it, because I think it can change the shape of, shape the way women actually are at their workplace.
Thank you so much, Saakshi. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And it's so encouraging to see how a company like Kimberly-Clark has the consumer bang at the center of everything they do, and liberating and empowering their daily lives and helping them to become limitless as they handle nature's biological gifts. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.